Before we jump headfirst into this eye-opening ride, if you're ready to unlock the keys to a healthier, happier you after 70, keys that don't just keep you upright, but keep you alive in every sense of the word, hit that like button right now. It's the spark that keeps me digging up these unfiltered truths, pouring them out for you straight from the heart. New here? Smash that subscribe button and tap the bell so you don't miss a single drop of this wisdom I've pieced together over years of watching, living, and learning the hard way. Love what you're hearing so far? Drop a number 1 in the comments below. I want to see it light up my screen like a beacon. Not feeling it? Toss me a number 0 so I can tweak it and come back stronger for you next time. And hey, where are you tuning in from today? Drop your city, your little corner of the world. I'm itching to know who's out there riding this wave with me, sharing this journey. Let's get moving, or, well, maybe not moving too much just yet, because that's where we're starting. Picture your 40s or 50s, those wild golden days when you'd stride through the park with the wind in your hair, legs pumping like pistons, air crisp and cool against your skin, feeling like you could conquer the world one steady step at a time. I can still see mine clear as day, lacing up my beat-up sneakers, hitting the trails with my old mutt Rusty bounding ahead, leash tangling in the bushes, both of us grinning like fools. I'd walk for hours back then, miles melting away under my feet, thinking a good long trek could fix anything. A bad day at work, a tight knot in my back, a restless mind that wouldn't settle. Back in those days, walking was king. Doctors preached it like gospel. Friends swore by it over coffee, and it felt like the golden ticket to staying fit, staying young, staying unstoppable forever. I'd come home sweaty, tired, but buzzing, alive in a way that made me think I'd crack the code to beating time itself. But then you cross that 70 mark, and the game shifts under your feet. Those trusty steps start to falter. That invincible rhythm stumbles, and what once built you up can quietly tear you down if you don't open your eyes to the change. I've seen it play out in real time. My Aunt Mai hobbling home with the wince she couldn't hide. My neighbor Mr. Tran rethinking his whole routine after a scare that shook him to his core. Studies back it up loud and clear. Over 60% of seniors cut back on walking as their joints start protesting, and their stamina fades into a memory of what it used to be. It's not about giving up, waving some white flag to age. It's about getting smart, listening to your body, finding a new way to win. Today we're unpacking why walking's losing its crown after 70, why that's okay, better than okay, and what's stepping up in its place. 2 activities that don't just keep you going, but lift you higher than those old miles ever could. I've lived pieces of this, watched it unfold in the people I love most, learned it through sweat and tears and quiet victories. Let's dive into the first big shift, because it's a doozy and it's where everything starts. You've got to ease off those long walks. Pushing too hard after 70 isn't strength. It's a gamble with your joints and your joint, and the odds aren't in your favor anymore. Think about it. Every morning you lace up those sneakers, hit the sidewalk with purpose, counting steps like it's a badge of honor etched in gold. 70 in maybe even that shiny 10,000 everyone used to rave about. Felt good at 60, didn't it? Back then your legs ate up the miles, your heart thumped steady, and you'd finish with a glow that said, I've still got it. But hit 72, 75, 80s, and those numbers can turn on you like a friend who's overstayed their welcome. Each step a little heavier, each ache a little sharper, until that badge feels more like a weight dragging you down. My Aunt Mai, 74 now, was a walking machine. Every dawn, she'd circle the park near her house, a loop she'd carved out over decades, chatting with her crew of old-timers, her stride steady as the sunrise painting the trees. I'd see her from my kitchen window most mornings, pouring my coffee, waving as she passed, thinking to myself, she's got this aging thing nailed. She's the poster child for staying active. She'd been at it forever, rain or shine, a ritual she swore kept her heart ticking strong, and her spirit high as the sky. She'd come by after sometimes, plop down on my porch with a grin, telling me, walking's my secret, keeps me young, keeps me going. But last summer, I started noticing her slowing down, her wave weaker, like her arm was tired of lifting, her steps shorter, like the ground was fighting her back. One morning, she didn't make it home till noon. I spotted her from across the street, slumped on a park bench, face tight with something I hadn't seen before, hands rubbing her knees like they'd turned traitor overnight. I ran over, heart pounding in my chest, gravel crunching under my shoes, and she looked up at me, eyes cloudy, voice so small it barely carried. It hurts now, didn't used to, but it does, and I don't know why. I got her home, helped her up the steps, ice packs on her legs, and she sank into her faded armchair, staring at the floor, muttering, "Thought I could keep going forever. Guess I was wrong, huh?" She wasn't wrong, not entirely, just caught off guard by time's quiet theft. Took her to the doctor the next day, me hovering like a worried kid. She grumbled about the fuss, but I wasn't budging. Doc laid it out plain, cartilage wearing thin as paper after years of pounding pavement, joints screaming from the strain, a warning she hadn't seen sneaking up because she'd been too busy counting steps to listen. She'd pushed too hard, too long, chasing that old glory, thinking more was always better, but her body was begging her to break, she hadn't given it. I've felt that sting myself. Turned 71 last year, took a 2-hour hike on a whim, felt like a hero with the wind at my back till my hips locked up that night, left me hobbling around my kitchen for days, cursing my pride with every stiff step. My pal Mrs. Land, 73, dodged that bullet. She cut her walks to 20 minutes a day after her knees started grumbling. Says she feels lighter now, no pain shadowing her stride. Doctors say it's not just chance. Past 70, your joints lose their cushion, bones thin out like brittle branches. Every extra step, a roll of the dice for arthritis, osteoporosis, or a fall that'll ground you. Aunt Mai's learning the hard way, down to short, gentle strolls now, no more marathons, still smiling through the adjustment, her park crew cheering her on. My Uncle Bao didn't learn, walked till his knees gave out completely at 76, bedbound too soon, a shadow of the man who'd raced me as a kid. Ease off, 5,000 steps, maybe 6,000 if you're feeling spry, gentle and smart. Your legs aren't built for battle anymore. They're asking for peace, for a softer road. Mai's still out there, slower but steady. I'll take that win any day over watching her fade. So what's replacing those miles? First, seniors are leaning into strength and balance. It's not just exercise, it's armor for your later years, and it's keeping them standing when walking alone won't. Walking's great for your heart, pumps it up, keeps it humming, no question there, but it won't hold you up when the stairs loom like a mountain, or steady you when the floor's slick with the morning dew or a spilled glass of water. It's about more than motion. It's about staying upright, staying independent, staying you. My neighbor, Mr. Tran, 77, found that out the hard way, and it's a story that still rattles me when I think about it. Tran was a big guy, broad shoulders, proud stride, the kind of man who'd lumber around the block every day like it was his kingdom, always bragging about his step counter over the fence. Hit 9,000 today, beat that. I'd laugh, salute him with my rake, thinking he was untouchable, a fortress of a man who'd outlast us all. Last winter, though, that fortress cracked. He slipped on a patch of ice right outside his gate, didn't see it coming, landed hard on the cold concrete with a thud I heard from my porch. Didn't break anything, thank God, but he was bruised deep, hip purple, ego black and blue, shaken to his core as he lay there, wind knocked out of him. I rushed over, snow soaking through my boots, helped him up with my heart in my throat. He was heavy, trembling, growling through gritted teeth. Thought I was tough, guess not anymore. Took him inside, got him settled, but the fire in his eyes was dim, replaced by a flicker of fear I'd never seen. Doc checked him out a few days later, Muscles weak as wet paper, balance off kilter. Walking hadn't built the strength he needed to catch himself, to hold his ground. He started Tai Chi after that. Slow, deliberate moves in his backyard, arms swaying like branches in a breeze, chuckling at himself when he wobbled, but sticking with it, stubborn as ever. 6 months in, he's a different man, steadier on his feet, climbs his porch steps without a huff, no cane in sight, grinning at me last week. Feel like I'm 60 again. Should have done this years ago. I've tried it myself, hit 72 this year, added squats to my mornings, holding the counter at first till my legs stopped shaking, feeling them firm up week by week. No more teetering when I haul groceries in from the car. My cousin Mrs. Fuang didn't get there. She relied on walks alone, thought they'd carry her through, fell at 70 reaching for her mailbox, broke her wrist clean through, still healing slow, wincing every time she moves it. Strength's your shield, Tai Chi's flowing grace, light weights you can lift in your kitchen. Yoga stretches on a mat in your living room. Balance keeps you free, not floored, not leaning on someone else to pull you up. Trans proof, he's back to his old swagger, teasing me over the fence again. But smarter now, stronger in ways steps alone never made him. I've dodged that fall so far. Squatting's my insurance and I'm not cashing it in early. Don't just move, stand tall, plant your feet firm, because after 70, it's not the miles that save you, it's the muscle. Second, they're feeding their minds and souls. Mental fuel's as vital as muscle after 70. And it's saving lives, one spark, one smile, one burst of joy at a time. Ever notice how a quiet day can turn sour fast? Your mind wandering to every ache in your bones, every word you can't shake, every what if that darkens the edges of your thoughts? It's not just boredom. It's a trap, a slow slide into a hole you don't see till you're stuck. My friend Mrs. Kim, 70, lived that trap, and watching her slip scared me straight. She'd retired a few years back, cut her walks when her hips started grumbling, but then she just stopped. I'd find her sitting by her window most days, staring out at the street like it held answers she couldn't reach. Gloom settling over her like dust on a shelf nobody bothers to wipe. Last spring, she started fading fast. Voice flat as a dead battery, appetite gone. A cold she caught and couldn't shake no matter how many blankets I piled on her. I dropped by with soup, sit across from her at that little table, and she'd barely look up, muttering, "Nothing to do, nothing left, just waiting, I guess." It hit me hard. Kim, who'd once sung off-key at every barbecue, who'd danced with me at my wedding till her shoes wore thin, was disappearing, and I didn't know how to pull her back. Took her to a doctor one rainy afternoon. Me driving, her silent, rain streaking the windows like tears she wouldn't shed. Doc didn't mince words. Depression creeping in like a thief, body following fast, immune system weak from no joy, no fight, no light to keep it going. I couldn't let her sink. Pushed her to try painting, dragged her to my place with a cheap canvas and some brushes, sat her down with, "Just mess around, see what happens." First strokes were shaky, colors dull, but then blue splashed wild, red streaked bold, and her eyes lit up. A spark I hadn't seen in months. She's hooked now, paints every day, reads mystery novels till midnight, dances to old records in her kitchen, laughs louder than she has in years, a sound that fills her house and spills out the windows. I've felt that pull myself. Hit 71, started writing after a gray spell, words tugging me out of the funk, mind sharp again, pages stacking up with stories I didn't know I had. My Aunt Lynn didn't find that lifeline, sat idle after her walks faded, sank low into silence. Gone at 73 from a heart that gave up when her spirit did. Feed your head, paint a sunrise, read a thriller, connect with a friend over coffee. It's oxygen for your soul, your years, your will to keep going. Kim's glowing now, brighter than ever. Don't let your light dim. Don't let the quiet steal what's yours. These shifts, walking less to save your joints, building strength to hold your ground. sparking your mind to keep your fire. They're not just trends passing through. They're lifelines I've seen save souls, ones I've clung to with both hands to pull myself up. Aunt Mai's gentler steps still carry her to the park. Tran's steady stance lifts him over every curb. Kim's bright laugh echoes through her days. They're why I'm stronger at 72 than I was at 65. Why I wake up ready instead of weary. The lesson's fierce and clear. Adapt, ease up on the miles, lift smart with your body, live loud with your mind, or fade fast into a shadow you don't recognize. What hit you hardest today? Mai's ache that stopped her cold, Tran's fall that woke him up, Kim's spark that brought her back. Drop it in the comments. I'm all ears, waiting to hear what's sticking with you, what's lighting your own path. Love this? Smash that like button, hit subscribe, ring that bell. Let's keep growing, keep thriving together. Share this with someone you love, your folks, your pals, that neighbor who needs a nudge, because time's ticking and they deserve these years too. See you next time, sharper, bolder, ready to own every single day you've got left. Have you ever stopped mid-stride and wondered why, after 70, so many seniors start trading their trusty walking shoes for something quieter, something gentler, something that doesn't leave their knees creaking like old hinges or their breath short like they've just run a race they didn't sign up for? Maybe you've felt it creeping in yourself, that nagging twinge in your joints that wasn't there a decade ago, that flicker of doubt whispering in your ear about how to keep moving, keep living, keep thriving as the years pile up like chapters in a book you're not ready to close. If you're nodding along right now, maybe rubbing an ache of your own, wondering how to stay strong and sharp past 70 without wearing yourself down to a shadow, you're not alone. And trust me, you've landed in the right place at the right time. Today we're diving deep into why walking less might just be the smartest, most liberating move you make after 70. And we're uncovering 2 game-changing activities that most seniors are turning to instead. Secrets that don't just patch up your health, but transform it. Lift your happiness and reshape your whole outlook on these golden years into something vibrant, something worth savoring. Stick with me all the way to the end, because I'm not here to toss dry stats at you and call it a day. I've got real stories from folks I've loved and lost, raw lessons carved out of my own stumbles and triumphs, and practical tips you can start today, right where you're sitting, to build a life that's not just longer, but richer, fuller, brighter than you might have thought possible. The kicker? There's a twist waiting at the finish line, a habit so simple, so overlooked, yet so powerful it might just rewrite how you see aging altogether and leave you wondering why you didn't start sooner.